last week's parsha is Parsha Mishpatim, and I want to say, if you are thinking of the parsha that is the most misleading in the entire Torah, so which laws? So some laws are straight out in the Torah, basically, and you can't really go wrong. Vidoi Maser is an example. Basically, you follow the directions, you're fine. Some laws are written in the Torah, and you can understand them, but you're not going to be able to practice them without the oral law, like Shabbat. So you'll know from the Torah that all malacha is forbidden. You know the penalty. You're not really sure what malacha is. Some laws are not so clear in the Torah. Like it says, lo tebashel gedi bechelev imo, and so you would think maybe you can't cook milk and meat, but everything else you have no idea how complex it goes. But the one laws that you would read the Torah and you would learn the exact opposite of what the laws are would have to be mishpatim. Because I was just reading this parsha, and in the first paragraph of the parsha, I found 10 discrepancies where the simple meaning of the verse conflicts with what we know about property laws. And I can give one example. This parsha is the parsha, the infamous eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And we know that always meant money. And we know that we've been criticized throughout the years for practicing corporal punishment. So we can see that this week's parsha is so dangerous. And that got me thinking as to why we have these dangers such as this. And it reminded me of something I was studying when I was studying for the test. So I was studying for the test, and I just want to get some background. The test involves, the last portion of the test is taruvot, mixtures of forbidden things. And one of the last portions of mixtures of forbidden things are the laws of doubts on doubts. So the laws of a doubt on a doubt would be you have something that is of doubtful kashrut. I'm not sure whether it's kosher or it's not kosher. And there's another reason why there's another doubt on that item. There's another thing that might make it kosher, might make it not kosher. So you have two doubts together, the thing is mutar. But it's not really that simple. My brother and I were discussing this, obviously, and my brother came up with a good reason why it's not so simple. So say I have a piece of chicken, and it falls into one of two pots of chicken soup, and milk soup. And we know that chicken and milk is derabanan. So we should say on the one, I don't know which pot it fell into, so safek derabanan lahakel. And obviously we don't say that. So why don't you say that? Because if you did say that, you wouldn't need 60. Because if you had one, it would be mutar already. I don't know which pot of chicken soup it fell in. So clearly, we know that the laws are much more complicated. In fact, the Shach brings down 36 different principles of the laws. And the last principle of the law is the laws of the spekot are deeper and wider than the ocean. And you should never make a speka other than the ones here because it's too dangerous. And then he concludes with the odd words. So I was trying to think, if you're saying the laws of spekot are so complicated and so involved that you have to be very careful what speka you make, why do you say this is after the eon of abundant peace for all Torah scholars and there shouldn't be a michshol, there shouldn't be an obstacle? So I was trying to think, what does the Shach mean? Maybe the Shach was, my first thought was, maybe the Shach is saying, okay, for the old Torah scholars, for them, they could make whatever spekot they wanted, but for us, it's going to be an obstacle. And then I wasn't sure about that, and so I said, maybe the Shach is saying, well, it's really complicated, and hopefully it won't be an obstacle. And these views got me pretty depressed, and I wasn't really, so keen on them. I talked to our Torah, and he agrees with me that it seems that Shach is saying one of these two things. And I don't really want to disagree, but I looked into the issue, and I don't think that the pasuk can mean those two things, and I'll explain why. So the first reason why the pasuk can't be the first one, that for the old scholars there wouldn't be a michshol, but for us there's going to be, is because this pasuk is from Tehillim, from Kuf Yud Tet, and the context is praising the vocation of Torah over the vocation of other things. And the Ibn Ezra specifically says there, for people who love Torah, don't mess up, whereas like a king, he's going to mess up. So this is very odd, because you would think, technically, if you mess up on kashrut, it's bad. If you mess up on certain aspects of kashrut, it's karet. It could be the heavenly death penalty. And certainly the next two sections I'm going to do. Shabbat, you mess up on Shabbat, you're dealing with really bad things. And after Shabbat is what, Nida? That's horrible. So it seems like you can mess up much more than a king could ever possibly mess up. And then Sforno says something interesting. Sforno says this principle of En Lamo Mechshol applies to Chol Dor Vador. It applies and to generations. And it's not just for that one Torah scholar, but Israel will not mess up because of in the merit of the Torah scholars. So it's very, very strange. So I was thinking about this. I found actually on the Perush at the end of Brachot, the Tzlach says what the real meaning of Shalom Rav Lohavei Torah Techel of En Lamo Mechshol is this: that why are there no obstacles for Torah scholars? Because there's peace between Torah scholars, and when Torah scholars talk to each other, one of them will catch the other Torah scholar, and this explanation is supported from the Mishnah in Eduyot, because the Mishnah in Eduyot says, and this is a very strange case. Or not strange, on the surface it's not so strange, but it actually is a very strange case. And it's Mishnah in Perek Aleph. And Eduyot is testimonies. These are testimonies where someone would come to the court and they would say, I heard something this way. And then the law would be like the guy said. So this is... That's Vav. No, I saw it earlier. No, Gimel. There, this is the law. So Hillel Omer Melo Hin Mayim She'uvim Poslan Et HaMikvah. So this is a famous din of the question is how much pouring water can be poured into a mikvah before you have a mikvah and invalidate it. So Beit Hillel says a full hin, a full 12 lugim. And Beit Shammai says that it was 9 kavs. And the Chachamim weren't clear on whether it's Hillel or Shammai. They were arguing, and they continued arguing until 2 weavers came. And these 2 weavers came, and they said, no, the law is not like Hillel. It's not 12 kavs. It's not like Shammai. It's not 9 kavs. It's only 3 kavs. And why is it only 3 kavs? Because we were sitting in the shiur of Avtalion and Shemaiah one time, and they happened to say it was 3 kavs. And as soon as Hillel and Shammai heard this, they said, you're right. These weavers from the garbage heap, they have the halacha correct. And this is even stranger because as Rambam explains, Beit Hillel was actually, the reason why he said Melo Hin Mayim She'uvim is because Hillel's teacher was a ger. And he couldn't pronounce the word hin. He pronounced it en. So to clarify, he said Melohin, so you would know it's a full volume. And even so, as soon as Hillel heard that this garbage, this weaver from the garbage dump disagreed with him, there were 2 of them that they testified against what Hillel thought he heard from the teacher. He's like, you're right. So I thought, Hillel messed up. Hillel's the greatest Torah scholar in the world. How could he mess up? But then I realized this is exactly what the Shlach was saying. When Hillel was wrong, Shammai caught him. And when Hillel and Shammai were both wrong, there were these 2 garbage people. And they came and they caught him. So that's how Torah works. And I think that's why the Torah is so complicated. The Torah is so complicated that there's no way one person can figure everything out. You can try. And you can try to derive all those fake-o. But you're always going to need that other person to learn with. Wow.